This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting. Good evening. U.S. federal drug enforcement officials tonight are talking up a high-profile cocaine bust at sea. A mothership, a mother lode of cocaine. In terms of the total drug load pouring into the United States, it was almost literally just a drop in the ocean. Still, this represented a large single haul of illegal drugs and suspects hard to come by, and a reminder of how many drugs are still getting in and how hard it is to stop them. From Miami, Doug Tennell has the story and the pictures.
It was a clear-cut victory in the Drug Enforcement Administration's war on Colombia's cocaine cartels. Officials in Miami released details today of a bust that netted more than a ton of cocaine after 3 months of high-risk undercover operations and a high-speed boat chase.
This is cocaine that is actually in the pipeline. It's not cocaine that came in the last week or 2 or 3 from Colombia, and I think it's indicative of the magnitude of that pipeline that's out there.
After leaving Colombia, the cocaine was loaded onto a so-called mothership, the freighter Nerma, north of the Caribbean island of Aruba. After stopping in Puerto Rico, the Nerma sailed to a rendezvous at sea last weekend with a fleet of small speedboats off the Bahamas. When the mothership began unloading bales of cocaine under cover of darkness, the Coast Guard's cutters moved in, while a U.S. helicopter tracked the action with an infrared camera.
Dead ahead about 50 yards. He's moving again. He's running. Shoot.
The Coast Guard fired 43 warning shots, seizing the Nerma and taking 3 small speedboats into custody. 17 persons were arrested, including speedboat operators of Cuban origin, the Nerma's Danish crew, and 4 Americans who planned to market the drugs in the United States. Agents put the street value of the cocaine at more than $50 million. But this victory, like most in the drug war, is a limited one. Intelligence reports had said the freighter Nerma was carrying more than 5 tons of cocaine. By that estimate, at least 3/4 of the Nerma's cargo is still unaccounted for. Doug Tennell, CBS News, Miami.
President Bush and his aides had a high road, low road strategy today for promoting Mr. Bush's version of what should be done about drugs. For his part, Mr. Bush delivered a speech directed to the nation's 47 million school children about the destructive power of drugs. Simultaneously, the president had his spokesman launch another of what Democrats insist is a partisan political attack against those who want to do more in the fight against narcotics. White House correspondent Leslie Stahl has more about this. Leslie?
Dan, the White House worked conflicting tracks to sell the Bush drug plan today. The president in the role of moral unifier, his staff on the partisan attack.
Mr. Bush spoke by television hookup to more than 70,000 schools across the country, urging kids not to look the other way when drug use goes on around them.
Saying no won't make you a nerd, won't make you a loser.
He didn't talk down to the kids. He told them bluntly that if they use drugs, they're fueling the killings.
From the city streets of America to the street bombings of Colombia, even dabblers in drugs bear responsibility for the blood being spilled.
Drug use among high school seniors has declined dramatically, but many who need to be reached weren't in school today. They've dropped out. For those who were in school, Mr. Bush delivered the message that the rules have changed. You could lose your driver's license, your college loan, you could even go to jail.
And if you risk doing drugs, you risk everything, even your freedom, because you will be punished.
I think that a lot of kids learned a lot, and that it was good that the president could talk to students besides just adults.
But the message didn't reach everyone.
I'd rather have a straight job instead of getting a chance of going to jail. But sometimes that's the only way you can make money.
Not many people will listen because they do hear it every day. You know, people, it just goes in one ear and out the other.
While the president took the high road, his spokesman, Marlon Fitzwater, blasted a Democratic plan to spend $2 billion more than the president wants by cutting the defense budget. Their first answer was to tax more, he said. Their new answer is to spend more, the traditional Democratic formula.
The president's plan is inadequate. It continues his war of words against drugs. And what we're going to do is to put some substance into it.
White House sources say the president is now willing to compromise by accepting some cuts in defense spending. The Democrats are now negotiating among themselves to try and get the spirit of bipartisanship back on track. Dan?
Thank you, Leslie. Soviet politician Boris Yeltsin appealed directly to President Bush today to help save economic reform inside the Soviet Union. Yeltsin went to the White House for a meeting with National Security Advisor Brent Scowcroft, and a spokesman said Mr. Bush, quote, dropped in to chat for about 15 minutes. Later, Yeltsin met with Secretary of State Baker. He told reporters he had given President Bush a list of 10 ways the United States could help to rescue Mikhail Gorbachev's program of economic reforms. Yeltsin is on a private, unofficial tour of this country. 45 years of communist rule officially ended today in Poland. Without a single no vote, Parliament approved the new government led by Solidarity. The vote followed weeks of hard bargaining that left the new prime minister exhausted and on the point of collapse. Bert Quint covered the day's events in Warsaw.
The real drama came before the vote. Poland Prime Minister Tadeusz Mazowiecki was making a nationally televised speech to Parliament when he suddenly gasped and nearly collapsed. He was helped off the rostrum, and for 50 agonizing minutes, Poles wondered if Mazowiecki, 62 years old and a heavy smoker with a history of heart trouble, was even alive. Then the Prime Minister returned. His heart had been checked, and he was all right, doctors said. Just fatigue, it seemed, after putting in weeks of 20-hour workdays trying to construct a government the communists would not dominate, but would not sabotage either. In a striking gesture of unity, Parliament overwhelmingly approved that government. The historic, peaceful transfer of power from communist to non-communist rule had come. Solidarity and its allies control this government, but they need the cooperation of the communists. To get it, Mazowiecki gave the communists 4 of 23 cabinet posts, including the important defense and interior ministries. Meanwhile, a sign of communist goodwill, the party man who heads the security forces, General Czesław Kiszczak, said he has ordered Poland's notorious riot police, the ZOMO, cut by more than half. As for the army, Poland's communist president, General Wojciech Jaruzelski, removed several hardline generals from key positions and put younger, more moderate officers in their place. Now, it seems, the way is clear for the new government to fight Poland's real enemy, the disintegrating economy that threatens to turn a proud nation into a beggar. Bert Quint, CBS News, Warsaw.
Still to come on the CBS Evening News, correspondent Harold Dow on the hard times neighborhoods where crack and other drugs seem to mean easy money and really mean death in one nation under siege.
You can see the dream of success in the eyes of people all across America. At Citicorp, we understand the dream. That's why, as Citicorp and Citibank, we've become America's largest financial services organization, already helping 1 in every 5 American families, with more home mortgages, more student loans, more MasterCard and Visa cards than any other company. We'd like you to get to know us better. Citicorp, because Americans want to succeed, not just survive.
Well, this doesn't look very interesting. I mean, I thought you'd have me try something a little fancier, maybe with nuts and fruit cocktail. These are nothing but flakes. It isn't at all what I expected. I like it. Oh, I get it. It's a whole new kind of cereal. Simple and back to basics, right? I like it.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
Corn Flakes?
Taste them again for the first time.
Even when the noise stops, this headache just keeps going. I used to take aspirin or Tylenol, but today I take Advil. Advil stops my headaches, and it's gentler to my stomach than aspirin. Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
Now a great cherry taste comes to Maalox Strength. New Maalox Plus Cherry Cream Tablets with the medicine doctors recommend most and a cherry taste you'll love. New Maalox Plus Cherry Cream Tablets. Strong relief for all your Maalox moments.
East Germany today issued a strong protest to its communist ally, Hungary, demanding the Budapest government close its borders and stop the flow of East Germans through Hungary to the west. More than 10,000 East Germans have now reached West Germany in the last 2 days, and more on their way. Anthony Mason reports.
As thousands more East German refugees crossed into the west today, Hungarian officials announced their borders will be left open indefinitely. The crossing point was a continuing scene of celebration. This 27-year-old German, now living in the West, waited nervously for his wife and child to cross the border. On this second day of the exodus, they were finally reunited. The first wave of refugees has moved on to the tent cities just inside West Germany's southern border. The camps in West Germany have filled up quickly, and with some 60,000 East Germans still in Hungary, officials here can't be sure how many refugees to prepare for. The Red Cross has provided food and clothing, and local businessmen are already offering jobs. Klaus Thalheim posted a list of 9 technicians' positions in his machinery company. He was also looking for a gardener.
But not perfect. If he can see the difference between a tree and a flower, we would take him.
The refugees are required to stay in the West German camps only as long as it takes them to fill out the forms.
When they are registered, they are citizens of the Federal Republic and they can go where they want to.
They're given $100 in cash and coupons for gas. And Kassa Hans Joachim and his wife Heidi were on their way again. They'd left behind his job as a master butcher and their son in the East German army. Today they headed west to find distant relatives in Nuremberg. In their wake, the refugees are discarding the symbols of their past. An East German Trabant car sold to this young West German today who sat puzzling through the instruction manual. The price, $100. The previous owner's teddy bear and laundry included at no extra cost. Anthony Mason, CBS News, Vilshofen, West Germany.
In Washington, the House voted tonight to restore criminal penalties for desecrating the American flag, up to a year in prison and an unspecified fine. President Bush and others are still pushing for outright changing the Constitution with a full amendment against flag desecration. All this the political fallout from last June's Supreme Court ruling that burning the flag is a constitutional form of protest. The House Ethics Committee voted today to begin a preliminary investigation of Representative Barney Frank. The Massachusetts Democrat has acknowledged hiring a male prostitute, initially for sex, then employing him as a personal aide. Frank says he fired the man in 1987 after learning the man was running a prostitution service from Frank's apartment.
April in Paris.
He said he'd give me Paris wrapped up in ribbons, but he was young and poor. So we settled for a small cafe and coffee. Coffee so rich, I thought I'd never taste its like again.
Discover the pleasure of rich French roast from Maxwell House. Rich French roast coffee. We can't give you France, but we'll give you the flavor.
Everybody knows the pain reliever hospitals use most is Tylenol. But Tylenol is also recommended most for everyday pain by internists, family practitioners, general surgeons, and on and on. Tylenol, recommended the most by the people who know the most.
We've studied your mouth from every angle and created a toothbrush with a very special angle, the Reach toothbrush, with a dental angle designed to clean even back teeth better, to get your teeth 51% cleaner than the other leading brush. Reach for 51% cleaner teeth.
When Ocean Spray adds sweet, sunny oranges to tangy cranberries, something cool and refreshing happens to sandwiches.
Wow!
Cran Fruit brand sauces add a cool, refreshing zing to everything.
Get ready for a new eye drop so refreshing you won't believe your eyes.
Wow!
Introducing new Visine Extra. An extra medication cools, soothes, moisturizes, and protects irritated eyes. New Visine Extra.
It's the biggest fraud action in the history of the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. The target, 2 firms accused of bilking customers out of hundreds of millions of dollars. You may be hearing the same sales pitch they used. Business correspondent Ray Brady offers this cautionary report.
He's disabled and only works part-time. But when Orville Beale saw this commercial from the International Trading Group, ITG,
an investment of $5,000 could control futures investments worth $100,000 or more.
He invested $50,000 and lost nearly all of it, joining other Americans who charge they invested with ITG and were, they say, taken.
The company is basically and fundamentally a scheming, scam artist organization.
I think they ought to go to jail. I really think that it's criminal what they did to me.
Americans reportedly lose $10 billion a year to scam artists. In the biggest case of its type, just this week, the government charged ITG with fraud and misrepresentation, saying it used misleading commercials and high-pressure telephone sales tactics to push commodities options. Basically, a gamble that the price of gold or wheat or some other commodity will rise or fall sharply. ITG's fee for those options, as much as 40%, 10 times what the average broker gets. A commission so high the government charged, 85% of ITG customers lost money.
What the customer is buying for the 40% commission is the best effort that ITG can give.
Anyone who charges a 40% commission is charging an outrageous amount, and nobody should do business with them.
Mary McCarley didn't understand that. She's still working because ITG lost the $31,000 retirement fund she had saved.
It seemed like every 3 or 4 weeks I had to send more money, and it was things I didn't understand. S&P 500s and S&P something else, and gold, silver, Eurodollars.
ITG discloses that it's very speculative up front in large print in all the documents that it sends to its customers.
Mike D'Agostino says he lost $25,000 to that ITG siren song.
They told me there was a risk, but I didn't have to worry because I would make money. I would become a millionaire.
One who did become rich, ITG's chairman, David Baree. He owns this lavish California estate. He could be worth, say, ex-employees, upwards of $250 million. But ex-broker Joel Stewart was so sickened by the way ITG made money, he quit.
When you have a losing client after losing client after losing client, you just can't continue to tell the story.
Experts say there are dozens and dozens of firms around the country selling commodity options to investors at high prices. Telephone salesmen taking Americans for millions of dollars every day. So, buyer beware. Ray Brady, CBS News, San Mateo, California.
Did you know that certain kinds of diet frozen foods get 40, even 50% of their calories from fat? Fat! Eat smarter. The one you can trust is Le Menu Lifestyle. Every serving is under 300 calories, helps you limit sodium, cholesterol, and is low fat. The only thing we didn't touch is the taste. Le Menu Lifestyle. Eat smarter.
Cash or charge?
We interrupt this purchase for a reminder.
I've got to have it.
There's still one more place to comparison shop.
I don't know where to start.
Here, by choosing the card that actually pays you cash. Cash back for every charge. The Discover card.
This is the one. It's perfect.
It pays to Discover, the card that pays you back.
Sunsweet's been up to something remarkably fresh. A reclosable canister. So Sunsweet pitted prunes stay fresh and moist. That is, for as long as they stay around. Only one prune tastes Sunsweet.
How strong is extra strength Tums EX? Heartburn strikes, Tums strikes back. Heartburn's gone that fast. Tums EX, twice as strong, twice as fast as regular Rolaids.
Israel's government was reported split today on a new peace plan sponsored by Egypt for elections in the territories Israel occupies. Labor Party leader Shimon Peres said he would be willing to open negotiations on the Egyptian plan, but Prime Minister Shamir is said to want to stick to his own proposal. With the Palestinian uprising 21 months old and as bloody as ever, correspondent Bob Simon reports there are signs of weariness on both sides now.
You hear it from more people from more places on the West Bank every month now, that same refrain which drives people buried in bad times anywhere. I want to go to America. You also hear that there are many ways to get to America, many ways to get visas.
He swore honest to God that he paid $4,000 for that visa.
In the Middle East, more than anywhere, it's who you know that matters. On the West Bank, the man to know is the Mukhtar of the village of Safa. a man of influence.
God knows how he does it. You give him the money, he gives you the visas, just like that.
That's what 18-year-old Yasser Hamas plans to do if he sells enough falafel. He says the Mukhtar wants $13,000 to get him visas for his parents and 8 sisters and brothers. The Mukhtar says this is, after all, the biblical land of Samaria, and he enjoys being a good Samaritan.
I don't know anyone receiving money, but I have no objection to helping people get visas.
Many Palestinians don't realize they can come to the embassy themselves and get tourist visas for free. Others say their applications were turned down until they went to see the Mukhtar.
He told you that he have a friend relationship between him and the embassy officials.
The American embassy announced today that 4 Israeli employees have been arrested for participating in a conspiracy involving the illegal sale of visas. Officials say they don't know how long it's been going on. They don't know how many Palestinians and Israelis have bought their tickets to the States this way. Palestinian activists want what they call Tel Aviv Gate closed because they want West Bankers to stay where they are.
Everyone want to go to America. We don't encourage him to go there because it's here it's his land.
A land so troubled it has bred a black market in hope. The moral of the story may be that cooperation between Israelis and Palestinians is possible. If they can't be partners in peace right now, at least they can be partners in crime. Bob Simon, CBS News, Tel Aviv.
Today is the 100th day since the massacre in Tiananmen Square that ended China's movement for freedom and democracy. Thousands of people gathered at a park in Hong Kong to mourn the dead. Chinese exiles in Paris also planned to hold a ceremony, but it was canceled when the French government revoked permission. Dissident Chinese leaders charged that the socialist government of Francois Mitterrand was caving in to pressure from communist dictators in Beijing.
If your hands started to bleed when you washed them, you'd worry. So why do you think it's normal if your gums bleed when you brush? It isn't.
But they only bleed occasionally.
It's a bacterial infection. Don't treat it lightly. Treat your gums professionally. Now you can, at home. First we'll clean your teeth, then as part of daily home care, I can give you medicine.
My gums stopped bleeding.
Ask your dentist how to treat bleeding gums professionally. At home. Oral Health Pharmaceuticals from Procter & Gamble.
I got a flat tire. Now my stomach's on fire. My day. And my Lanta, too.
Introducing Mylanta 2 Roll Packs for double strength antacid relief wherever you are.
Because my life takes Mylanta 2.
Now, the most important words in pain relief in 100 years. Motrin IB. No prescription needed for effective relief of headache and muscle ache. New Motrin IB. Doctor-recommended pain relief.
I'd rather switch than itch, so I switched to Tegrin.
Tegrin medicated shampoo controls all the major causes of itching and flaking, so Tegrin is more than strong enough for tough dandruff like yours.
Wouldn't you rather switch than itch?
Dental wares, if you smoke, here's great news. New Smoker's Polydent now cleans better than ever. Its super strength cleans tough tobacco stains. The minty mouthwash ingredient freshens up dentures. New Smoker's Polydent.
A better mouth freshening clean.
As we continue CBS News special coverage of crack and other drugs under the general title One Nation Under Siege, a look tonight at some shaky grounds for hope. Hope amid inner-city decline, despair, and destruction being accelerated by drugs. Residents who believe they can make a difference, who don't look the other way, even if it means facing the fear of death. Tonight, part 2 of correspondent Harold Dow's report from the streets, this time from the Roxbury section of Boston. The unsung heroes there who are working to take back the night, the streets, and their children from the menace of drugs and violence.
Roxbury exists in the shadow of Boston. Living here has been compared to living in a war zone. High unemployment, high crime, vacant lots, remnants of riots during the 60s when both the business community and the city walked away.
From a standpoint of not giving the kind of attention that it should have been given, yeah, I'd say it was in fact abandoned for some 25 years.
Today, residents are willing to talk about what that did to Roxbury, but they're afraid to be identified.
It just changed.
We didn't notice it. It was such a gradual change, we didn't notice it until it exploded.
What exploded was gang warfare, turf fights, revenge killings, random shootings of innocent bystanders.
Roxbury is an isolated community, a community where taxi drivers and delivery men often refuse to go. Why? In one word, fear. Fear of gang violence, fear of death.
Definitely, I watch my back every 2 seconds. I take a step. You have to. You gotta look at all the cars that come by. They might drive by and shoot us. You never know.
You could be just walking across the street, and they'll shoot you. Too many guns out there.
Scared in this neighborhood.
Sometimes I am. At night, yeah, sometimes I am, yeah.
Really?
You never know what can happen, you know?
The fear on these streets is palpable. People are afraid to leave their homes, afraid to talk to strangers. It infects everyone, including the police.
Sometimes, you know, you ride down the street at 2 o'clock in the morning, and when you get to the end of the street, you say, boy, phew, I made it.
The police seem unable to stop the violence, and they can see the effect on the neighborhood.
I ain't got his gun. How I shoot somebody?
Imagine the pressure being that you don't know whether you're going to live tomorrow. Imagine the pressure knowing that when you walk down the street, somebody may ride by and shoot at you and kill you.
For those who can no longer cope with that pressure, a unique program has been started at the Roxbury Community Health Center. Residents can talk to counselors about their constant fear and helplessness.
Only thing I wish they will find whoever did it to him.
It is very, very unusual to get in any group of 3 persons more than one person who has not witnessed some traumatic incident in the neighborhood, if they live in the neighborhood.
If there is hope for the community, it comes from residents who refuse to be frightened away. People like Geraldine Hines, an attorney who can afford to live elsewhere, but chooses to stay.
That really hasn't been an issue for me, moving away. I love this community. I'm committed to being here. I've worked here all of my professional life. I'm raising my daughter here.
It is these community members who are fighting, along with the city of Boston, to put a major public works project in Roxbury. The agency would create hundreds of jobs and be the cornerstone for renewed growth.
Businesses would then see that there is investment and there is confidence to develop in the Roxbury community.
No one believes one government project is enough to restore an entire community. Years of rebuilding will be necessary to make up for the decades of neglect, but the foundation may already be here.
There are lots of good people in this community, good people that you know and good people that you don't know. That's what I think about when I think about Roxbury.
Fear and strength, violence and hope, all meeting on the streets of Roxbury every day. Harold Dow, CBS News, Boston.
And that's part of our world tonight. A reminder to please mark the day and time, Thursday night at 8, 7 Central Time, for 48 hours, a return to Crack Street, a special program on the spreading danger of crack and what you can do about it. For now, Dan Rather and the CBS Evening News. See you tomorrow. Good night.
I'm Harry Smith.
And I'm Kathleen Sullivan. Tomorrow, live from Omaha, how schools are handling the drug crisis.
Also, Jack Scalia and Gene Siskel on CBS This Morning.
This is CBS.